Part 4, sleeve gear and main bearing. Kind of looking forward to this part because it kind of means that the gearbox is going back together. So once again, here's the gearbox casing. It's a BIV or B1V, so V1V being the 4-speed, 4 mounting studs, and then just give you a look at the internals there. So the due to the bushing not being present on the sleeve gear, there's a lot of wear on the main bearing. So this is the main bearing, which is a Ransom and Marles LJ30, 30 meaning, well, 30 millimeters inside diameter. However, this bearing is stamped 2 LJ 1 3/16, which is kind of there or thereabouts 30 mil, but in any case it's 16 mil thick and 62 mil in outside diameter. So the equivalent metric bearing to this is a 6206, and did a bit of research, and FAG or VAG, don't know how it's pronounced, but I went for an FAG 6206 C3ZZ or 2Z, and the 2Z means shielded on both sides. Now the original bearings, although this is, it's not really a cover, it just retains the bearings in here. So the original layup of the bearings and the axles uses oil shims, and I guess that prevents the oil sort of seeping out of the bearing from the inside to the outside. But I guess the idea with the shielded bearings is that does that job. So what I did was I removed, a bit of advice from an expert was I removed the shield on one side, just using a pick. I have some picks here, so just using a pick, just very gently pulled the shield out so that the bearing gets lubricated on the inside. So the inside here will receive some oil on the inside of that bearing. So I removed the shield, but the shielding is still in place, and this is the outside. So 6206, so the dimensions are 30 mil inside diameter, 62 mil outside, and 16 mil thickness. And this is the sleeve gear now with the bushing in place. So this short video is I'm going to install the bearing inside the casing, but I debate, you'll see obviously the bearing is on the sleeve gear, so I debated whether to put the bearing in the casing and then tap in or drift the sleeve gear into that, but it's a very tight fit, and it's meant to be a tight fit, so the sleeve gear wants to be fully tight within the inner bearing race so that the bearing moves, not the sleeve gear moving inside the bearing. So what I did was I put the sleeve gear in the freezer to shrink it slightly, because the dimensions are effectively the same as measuring about 30 mil the sleeve gear outside diameter and 30 mil inside diameter, so it was an exact fit. So something needed to be either shrunk or heated to expand it, so decided to put the sleeve gear into the freezer, and it did work. But what I did was I just put the sleeve gear in the vise and gently tapped it down with this large socket. So just very sort of gently and gradually just tapped it down, and it's a very snug fit, which is what I wanted. It was again some advice that I'd found online. It wants to be very snug, so that then was located inside the bearing, so it's nice and smooth. And I did that because also that the bearing is a snug fit in the casing, but still taps in quite nicely. Actually, as a test, I drifted it in using a bicycle drifting kit, using 30 mil cups either side, but it was a nice sort of snug but not too tight fit. So I thought I'll do the difficult bit outside the box, and I'll tap in the bearing onto the sleeve gear out the box, and then this video I'm going to tap the bearing into the casing. So there's where it's going to go. So I'm using these two blocks to do that, because obviously the sleeve gear will come through the back. So I'm just going to locate the bearing inside the casing. I'll stand up for this. I'll move the camera in a second, but just want to find. So obviously it's not completely round, so it did sort of just slot in there just a few mils. So there's the sleeve gear now inside the casing. Let's pop this camera back. So I'm just going to gently tap that through. Just check on that progress. It's looking like it's not exactly square, so I'm just going to start that again. Just going to make sure it's properly square in, so it goes. Let's have a look on the other side. That's looking a bit more sort of square now, so I'll try that again. Yeah, that's looking better now. We'll keep going with that. There it goes. That looks like it could go just a couple more mil. Make sure it's all the way home. It still wants to go a bit more. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it all the way. So you see that there, that's the main bearing with the shielding on the outside, with the sleeve gear and the bushing in place. It's smooth. Obviously it's a new bearing, it's smooth. There's no play in the new bearing, which is obviously what you expect, but the last one there's a lot of play there. Give you a look on the inside. So, not sure if this will be the next part, but there's because of the shielding there was an oil shim, and then a couple of spacers to bring this surface flush. Before there's a couple of like sort of leather or rubber washers there before the sprocket goes on here. So I might cover that in the next part, but starting to take shape now that now that the sleeve gear's in place, we can now get on to looking at the shimming. So the main axle will go in here with a thrust washer on top of the sleeve gear, and we'll see how that lines up in the next video alongside the lay shaft to determine how much shimming the main shaft is. And once that's determined, once we've sorted that, then really the gearbox can be fully assembled.